Hello, women of the world. Welcome to Her Vision, Her Empire, where we celebrate the strength, ambition, and dreams of women like you who are forging their own paths in the world of entrepreneurship. Remember, it's time to build your empire, one vision at a time. Hello, women of the world. Welcome to another episode of Her Vision, Her Empire. We are so excited to have Donna Fields on our podcast today. How are you doing today, Donna?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Sadie. Thanks for asking. Great to see you, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Could you,
Sure.
could you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you like to do for fun, maybe your favorite color or favorite food?
Okay, food. I'm going to start with food, okay?
Okay.
And you're going to laugh because my favorite all-time food is popcorn. Everybody who knows
Oh,
me knows
really?
that.
Oh, wow. Just
It's
like
it's
normal buttered popcorn or anything special?
okay, well, just so you know, I live in Spain, so we don't do butter
Okay.
here for some reason. There is no butter. It was the
Oh,
hardest thing to get used to. But having said that, I've gotten very used to olive oil. So I actually put olive oil on popcorn. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it's so good.
that's amazing. I love
Yeah, so
that.
let's hope that, the talk about business is as exciting as popcorn.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And then what do I like to do with fun? I mean, I don't have that many hobbies. I just love walking with my dog. That's my favorite thing in the world to do. It helps me think, it helps me calm down. It just makes everything slow down and be manageable. So the other
That's
hobbies,
great.
my hobbies are reading. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. I love that. And how long have you lived in Spain?
I've lived here more than 20 years. I'm from New
Oh,
York
wow.
originally. Yeah.
Okay.
I lived in New Mexico, and in New Mexico, it was important then to learn Spanish. So I came over for a month to learn Spanish, and that didn't work. So I'm still here.
That's
Yeah.
great. I love
Yeah.
that. Are you enjoying it there?
I really do like it. I really do like it. I mean, I am culturally American, but the Spanish life works for me. In the States, we work because we think that we need to work. Here, you work only to enjoy the time off. That really is
That's
true.
great. Yeah.
So, trying to get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I actually served a mission for my church in Portugal. So it was right there.
Really? How did you
Yeah.
like Portugal?
Oh, I loved it. It was beautiful. Yeah, I loved
It's
being
a
there.
really, it's a teeny little country and it's so different from Spain. It's hard to believe they're in the same
Yeah.
little peninsula.
Yeah. I met some Spaniards while I was there, and I while I was there, I learned Portuguese. So when I was listening to them talking, it was very like, and I'm also where I live now in Idaho. There are a lot of people from Mexico, and so I listened to that Spanish, that accent from Mexico here, and then in Portugal when I met the Spaniards, it was completely different. So I thought it was so cool to hear the difference and everything. So,
Yeah, and Mexican Spanish is so much easier.
oh
It really
really?
is. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They much more open. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the same way about Portuguese. The Brazilian Portuguese is so much easier to understand and to
Really
say, and
interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
wonderful you had that experience. So you've been out of Idaho and you've had how long were you in Portugal for?
A year and a half.
That's fantastic. And so you still do you keep up your Portuguese?
Yes, I do. My husband actually speaks Portuguese because he served his mission in Brazil. So, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Keep it up, and then
Yeah.
go for Spanish. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I did take some Spanish in college, so.
Okay, so I have a question for you. I know that this is supposed to be you asking me questions, but I have a question for you.
Oh, no
Once you went
worries.
back, and it has everything to do with what we're going to be talking about. When you went back to Idaho, was it obvious people who had never left Idaho and people who had experiences like yours?
Yes. Yeah,
Can you
I could
explain
say
how?
so. Yeah. I really didn't know what to expect going out of the country because I had never been out of the country before either, going to Portugal, but I just loved it. And I loved getting to know another culture and another language and serving for my church and everything. It was amazing. And I definitely can tell with people um, who have been out of the country and who haven't, they just have more of a broader mindset, I think, than the ones in the United States who have only been in the United States. So,
Yeah, I love that you said that because that's exactly what I was hoping you were going to say, but I was open to anything.
yeah,
And that's exactly it. That you have a more open mind because you
yeah,
have to adjust, don't you? You have to be
mm-hmm.
flexible once you're in another country because you were the guest, right?
Yep, exactly, yeah,
And you have
yeah,
this podcast. So something has shifted in you that you're reaching out and you want to learn about different people. And I think that
mm-hmm.
has a lot to do with the fact that you left Idaho for a year and a half. And that's
Yeah,
exactly what your listeners will benefit from knowing how
yeah,
important it is to travel, how important it is to put yourself in situations that are not comfortable at first, right?
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. And doing my own podcast and everything has definitely not been comfortable.
Can you tell me how,
So,
can you tell me why?
I think it's I've had to do a lot to get to this podcast. Beforehand, I took a couple different courses on affiliate and digital marketing, and I really put myself out there doing social media and just making videos and putting them on social media every day. And that was really, I don't know, it was very uncomfortable for me and something that I had never done before. And it was kind of the same thing with leaving the country and learning a new language. Like, it was very uncomfortable, but there were so many beautiful things about it. And so with digital marketing and affiliate marketing, it was great. And I continue doing it, but I have had to build the confidence up to be able to do a podcast because I've always wanted to do one,
Yeah.
but I didn't have the confidence to do one. So
And so you just turned on the camera and started, right?
I actually had a business partner for a little while, and we started a podcast together called Boss Moms, and it
Okay.
was kind of the same thing. Where we would have a few interviews with people who had their own businesses, but we would also expand on different things and talk about digital marketing and affiliate marketing and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we're not business partners anymore, which is totally fine. She just had a lot on her plate, and so we decided to go our separate ways. But that actually made it so I felt confident enough to actually do it on my own, start my own thing, and so I just sat down and was like, I'm going to do this, and I started, and so here I am.
Sadie, that's amazing. I really want your listen. This is so important for your listeners to know on so many different levels because um, we are bombarded by all the success stories of how
Yes.
of how you have tens and thousands of followers and you're making so much money in digital in your through your social media, and that's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful and that absolutely happens. But there
Yes.
is so much work behind it. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have, you don't have to have tens of thousands of followers and you don't have to make tens and thousands of dollars. It'd be wonderful if you did. But the
Yeah.
point is that there is a lot of work behind all this. And you did exactly what you needed to do. First, you had a partner. You lost some of the fear of being seen, and now
Yeah.
you're gaining more confidence. But what you're doing is you're telling your listeners that you were scared and yet you kept moving forward, and it is a
Yes.
lot of work and yet you keep moving forward, and that really is so much. When I'm in an affiliate marketing course as well, and I did a
Mm-hmm.
business course as well, and what I didn't realize is that there are always these points, some of us have them more often than others where we just want to give up because it seems too difficult. But
Yeah.
everyone is going through that, not just you, everyone. And so
Yeah.
you can make it, I mean, it's a simple decision. You give up or you just take the next step forward.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a perfect step. It can be a step into the mud, and you might
Yep.
slip around a little bit, and you just, if you fall, you pick yourself up, go, wash off your clothes, and just keep going. But I love what you're describing, because it's exactly what you told me before, that you want your listeners to know, to have the courage to try something.
Yeah.
um, I heard this wonderful quote from someone who said, if you begin a business and publish it when it's perfect, you've waited way too long.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah.
the trial and error is part of the digital marketing.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
that's such a hard lesson to learn.
And
That
it's
is
embarrassing.
something.
It can be
Yeah.
embarrassing, right?
Yeah. For sure. I had the hardest time just putting myself out there and knowing that it's not going to be perfect, because perfectionism is, I feel like most people have it on in different degrees, right? I feel like I have a lot of perfectionism in me and I want everything to be perfect all the time, but it's unrealistic and we're human. So,
Well said. Very well said. Yeah, it
yeah.
can be messy and in
Yeah.
trial and error. And what I say, I mean, eventually you're going to ask me what I do, but I've been so interested in what you're doing, and it's all so appropriate. But just quickly,
Yeah.
I am a teacher trainer. And so what I do is help teachers lose their fear of taking chances. And I
Mm.
always say to them that there's no right or wrong. There's only trial and error. And in a classroom, like you, just what you said, we are human, our students are human. Every
Yeah.
day is different. And so something
Yeah.
that worked perfectly one day is going to be a disaster the next day. And you don't, crucify yourself. You
Right.
just say, what can I do differently? What can I try next time? Maybe it'll work, maybe it doesn't. But you can say the fun, although I know there's a lot of stress there also, the fun is sometimes it really works and it's everybody's happy. So,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's great. I love that.
yeah.
What made you start doing this? Or when did
Doing
you
the
start
teacher
it?
training. Well, I'm a teacher. Above all, I'm a teacher. And as I said, I'm from New York. I became a teacher in New Mexico. Absolutely loved it. Never thought about teaching, never ever. But I just found that I can be very creative in teaching. And so what I
Mm-hmm.
do is I create activities to help teachers have more fun so that their students have more fun. And I mean, I really did like being in the classroom, but at some point I thought, I don't want to be one of those teachers in the teacher's room saying, these kids, I can't stand them anymore. So I said, I got to stop before I get to this point, and I don't smoke. Didn't want to
Yeah.
start.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found that I had something to say. So I started giving workshops, and some publishers heard me and they said, oh, we like what you're saying. Why don't you work for us? And now I work for different publishers, different schools, different universities. As long as I have something to say, I keep going. I absolutely love working with teachers because I know that they're helping their students react better in their classes. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what
That's
I
great.
do.
I love that. Wow.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing it for? When did you become a teacher?
I've been a teacher about 30 years, more than 30 years. I came to
Okay.
Spain a little more than 20 years ago. And then I've been a teacher trainer about 15 years, like
Okay.
that. Yeah. So when I left the classroom, I love learning. So I went back to school here at the university and got my doctorate because I already
Oh
had everything
wow.
else. Yeah.
That's
And
great.
I mean, I just love learning, and you do your doctorate if you love learning. And my
Mm-hmm.
director even said, this is not going to do anything for you. I said, that's okay. I just love doing it. It's okay. And
Yeah.
actually, you may know this from being in Portugal that um, in the Latin world and European world and most parts of the world, having a doctorate is very important. And so a lot of the work that I've done, I would never have been asked to do if I hadn't had my doctorate. So
Okay.
it has come in handy. And I'm looking behind me because people don't know that actually my doctorate was not in education. It was in fairy
Oh.
tales.
Oh really?
I did
Wow.
my doctorate in fairy tales, and my doctorate was on. And again, your listeners, I think, are going to respond to this because this is part of picking yourself up and getting on with it. My doctor was on the witch is the heroine of all fairy tales. And the
Hmm.
witch is a metaphor for any challenge you have in your life. And
Okay.
so I dissected one fairy tale after another and showed how she actually made everyone in the fairy tale better. Everyone, except for the king, who's just, useless. But anyway, um, so yeah, I became a teacher trained about 15 years ago, and now I'm putting most of my work onto a digital platform, which is how you and I got to know each other, I think,
Yeah.
because I want to have even a broader reach. During the pandemic, it was very challenging. I couldn't go into the schools, so I started doing online work. Online does really work. There's nothing like being in front of someone. There's nothing like that energy of people in the same room. But you can get some pretty powerful changes, transformations online. And so I'm trying to
Oh
do that a
yeah.
little more. And I
Hmm.
actually really love being at home, so it works.
I agree. It's so nice to do stuff at home.
Do
Yeah.
you still have friends in Portugal?
I do. Yeah. I
Are
have
you going to
several
go back
friends
and
still there.
visit?
Oh, I would love to. Yeah. I would love to. Yeah. And then I would love to go to different countries in Europe too and visit there and see what it's like. So,
Well, you've got to talk to your church again, first of all.
yeah.
Tell them that you have unfinished business, that you've got to go
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. We have I'm married and have two kids now. When I went to Portugal, I was single. So, um it there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done before going, but
Yeah, I understand. And you have young children, right? Because you're a baby yourself,
yes.
Sadie. You're
Yeah.
so young. I mean, this is another thing about living in Spain for so long. People don't have babies until they're in their 30s.
Oh,
It's very
really?
different from the States. Yeah, they live at home until they get married, and they don't get married until they're in their 30s, and then they have babies. So, very
Oh,
different.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 25, so
Oh.
I'm not
And
I'm
look
not
how much you've
super
done.
young anymore, but
Sadie, you're so young, but I mean, it's gorgeous. You're gorgeous. You just, this whole
oh,
energy you have is wonderful.
thank you.
So,
I
yeah,
appreciate
and
it.
look how much you've done. So, and look how much more you're going to have to be doing. All right.
Yeah. I have two kids. One is 2.5 and the other one is 10 months. So,
Oh, wow. Wow.
yep, pretty
So you
young.
have your work. Yes. So you take care of them at home, or do you have work outside the house as well?
I take care of them at home, and on a couple of days during the week, my husband is at home and does work from home. So I'm able to do my podcast and do my digital marketing and stuff like that while he watches the kids. So
Right.
it's kind of
Perfect.
fun. Yeah,
Yay.
it's a
So you've
great
got it
schedule.
organized. So, what do
Yeah.
you most want your listeners to know? You were saying that you want them to have faith that they can do things like this. Is that right?
Yes. Yep. And I want them to see like the good and the bad of companies, like you were saying, being completely transparent and have them relate to what we're talking about. So,
Yeah, the good and the bad. I mean, the good is that when it all works, what people mostly want to know about digital platform and getting your work done through social media or through what we're doing, Zoom, podcasts, whatever, is that there's so much to establish on the platform to have a base, to have a solid base. And
yeah.
you need to have a voice. One thing that I was really resonating with what you're talking about with your partner is that you use your partner a little bit as a crutch, which is not a bad thing, but as someone to lean
Hmm.
on while you found your voice. And so much of this is about finding a voice. And I had a similar experience in that I started a podcast. So I said, "Oh, I want to talk to educators." I actually
Yeah.
was going to write a book. I have a book. This is one of my books and my activities. And I thought, I'm going to write a book for preschool teachers. Well, I've never been a preschool teacher and know almost nothing about preschool, except I do
Yeah.
give workshops on it. But when I started writing a book, I gave it to someone I know, and she's a preschool expert. Expert. She does a lot of work. I'm not really crazy about her. ideology, which is why we're not working together anymore, but God bless her.
Mm,
Um, and she said, this is not going to work for preschool. So I did listen to her and I thought,
mhm.
all right, then what I'll do is I will interview preschool teachers and I'm going to find out from them best practices and I'm going to adjust my vision according to what they say.
Yeah.
Well, I still haven't talked to any preschool teachers, but
Oh.
yeah. What I wanted to say is that I started interviewing other educators because I just loved listening to what they were doing. And all over the world, I'm involved with a group called the 100 Organization that's based in Finland. And what
Oh
they
wow.
do and what I help them do is find innovations, different projects from teachers and educators all over the world that are incredible. So I have
Yeah.
this whole pool of people that I can contact and interview. But the reason why I started talking about this is because I just dove right into interviewing people, and that's very comfortable to me. For me, I love asking people questions. The Spanish actually find that offensive. I say, I'm
Oh.
just curious. I'm just curious. But they look at me thinking, another question? For goodness sake.
Oh.
But then I was in a group of an affiliate marketing group, and they said, you've got to do some solo podcasts. You've got to do it just you. And I said, there's no way. I go off on tangents. I will never be able to funnel my thinking in one direct, coherent way for a whole podcast. And they kept telling me to do it, and they kept telling me to do it. And I started doing it. And what it did for me, I've only done about 5 or 6 of them, and they're interspersed with these interviews, which I also really love, is that it's helping me find a voice. And I don't think that they're stellar, interesting. I think they're pretty funny, actually. They're
Yeah.
short, maybe 6 to 10 minutes long, and I just sort of go with a thought. But what it is helping me do, I can see it's helping me find a voice. It's helping me find even a little bit more confidence in my vision. It's a very unique
Mhm.
vision. And so I see that in what you're telling me too is that as you go along, you've just got to keep going forward and have faith that you're going to find your voice. I read somewhere that one guy who started a podcast said, it wasn't until my 50th podcast that I figured out what I was doing. And I thought, that's
Yeah, you just
comforting.
gotta do it. Yeah.
Right. But it
Yeah.
was really nice. It was really honest. Instead of coming
Yeah.
out of the gate winning every time, no, you have to find your footing. And I think
Yep.
that's so important, and not enough people talk about it. So thank you, Sadie, for giving
Oh,
us this platform to talk about it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. You definitely have to have a strong foundation built um, before you feel perfect, before you get there. Like you were
Forget
saying, like
perfect.
that.
Forget perfect.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Just perfect as in like you've
Comfortable?
yeah, you've become comfortable. Maybe you feel like you're on the right track, that you are saying the things you want to and getting it out there, or something like that is what I was trying to get at. But yeah.
No, exactly. And I saw some videos I did even 2 months ago. And what I'm doing now is really superior. But if I had never done those videos 2 months ago, and I would not have been moving forward. I would have done those videos now. And then
Yeah.
2 months later, I would be improving. But in other words, those videos are kind of painful to look at, but I'm
Yeah.
standing by them because now I'm putting out
Understandable.
better videos. You understand?
Yeah. I
So we learned.
understand. Yes.
And it's not just about content. And also, this, you don't need to invest a lot of money to do podcasts and vlogs, I think they're called now. And
Yeah.
you don't need to spend a lot of money, and you do not need you do not need to pay someone to do advertising for you. Facebook ads, I wonder if this is going to be controversial if I name these, but people are always writing in and saying, oh, I can get you a lot of followers. I'll just give me this amount of money and I'll do some Facebook ads for you and I'll do Google ads and all these things. First of all, don't do it, as nice as they may be. You don't need numbers. You need authentic followers. I think that's really important to remember.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I did when I first opened a Facebook page. I did not want to, but I wanted to advertise this book. So I opened the Facebook page and I paid someone to get me some followers. So all they do is they pay people all over Asia to say like and follow. Doesn't mean they will ever engage with you. It's just a number.
Mm,
So you need to
gotcha.
really decide if you go to YouTube and you see, 5,000 followers, are those authentic people? Are those are people who are going to engage that are really interested in that channel, or are they
Yeah.
just paid followers? So, one thing I would really like to stress for your listeners is don't be so interested in the numbers. Be interested in the quality of the people who are following you. So, when I go to LinkedIn, some of the posts I get hundreds and hundreds of people following me, which for me is good in education. Other people have tens of thousands. Anyway, my point
Right.
is some of them get few hundreds, 500, 600 um, posts, and some of them get 6 or 10 or 15. But what I really try to do is think about those 6 or 10 or 15 people and send really good energy to them, because something in what I posted has meant something to them. And what I'm posting is educational information, activities, perspective, something to think about. And if those
Yeah.
6 people have engaged in my information, they're going to go and talk about it to 6 other people and 6 other people. And that's more important than just the
Yep.
number.
Yep. I completely agree. Quality listeners and followers are going to really want to see your videos. They really want to hear from you, and they're very interested in whatever you're doing with your business. And I love that because I know lots of people that just get very anxious and kind of stuck on the numbers. And so once you kind of get past that mindset of numbers are everything, then becoming closer to the quality of people and really trying to get to know your audience and bring that into play. And that really just, for one, it really helps your listeners get what they want in your content because you're listening to them and creating content for them specifically, but also it really just helps you not focus so much on numbers, but really on the quality of your work.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And when we really believe in our work, those people will find us, the right people.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you do newsletters?
I do every so often, but not very often. So,
Okay, one of the first rules about newsletters is that it has to be consistent.
yeah.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
that's one of the big rules in my marketing course. The reason why I ask you is because it's another way of engaging with your followers, with the people that are interested in your material, for them to write to you directly. And for you, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to have a newsletter, Sadie. But
Yeah.
the point is, again, don't worry so much about how many people are on your list. If you have 20 people on your list, those are 20 people who are interested in what you have to say. And so we celebrate those 20 people. And it's
Yeah.
also a way of getting your voice, because newsletters again are not easy. And if you're asking about business, your idea was explain your empire. And I don't have an empire. I have my passion, which is education and all my educational materials. Empire sounds like so much work on Wall Street. That's what it means to me. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's everybody.
Yeah.
But the thing is that these are the newsletter is part of the platform. And newsletters were another thing that weren't really comfortable for me in the beginning, but again, it helped me
Mm-hmm.
find a voice, and they very
Yeah.
changed over time. My first newsletters are very different than what I send out now, and I'll probably change again. But what it
Mm-hmm.
is above all, is we give our people value, no matter what it is. And how do we give our people value? By making sure that whatever we write, whatever we post, or our activities on our pages, our online courses, because I'm starting online courses, that we really believe in them. And if we
Yeah.
really believe in them, it's the energy. You know this, working with the church, is that everything is about energy. And if we really believe in what we're putting our energy into, people will find it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's,
that's great. Thank you.
yeah.
I think we probably should wrap things up, but thank you so much for being on the podcast and for all of the great advice that you've given to us and me and the listeners listening. But also, thank you for sharing about your business and everything that you've done with that. That's great.
Absolutely pleasure, Sadie. I look forward to hearing how you progress. And if your
Oh,
listeners
thank
have
you.
any question, please let me know. But oh my goodness, I'm so excited for you and for your two little kids and your husband. So
Oh,
good
thank
luck to
you.
everything. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. You've just listened to an episode of Her Vision, Her Empire. We upload a video every single week, so don't forget to hit subscribe or follow to not miss out on future content. If you'd like to support our podcast, we would absolutely love it if you left a review or shared it with someone you know that would benefit from this content. Links to our socials are found below in the show notes, and thanks again for listening. Until next time.